Welcome to the 5-Minute English Vocabulary Podcast. My name is Herbert Lee, and I'll be your host. Now you can easily improve your vocabulary without memorizing long lists of boring words, and still develop a powerful command of English. You'll learn the origin of words, or etymology, told as easy-to-remember stories. You'll also hear some jokes, and learn some idioms as well. Episode 7. Season 2. How to Improve Your Executive Vocabulary, Part 1. I wrote this article 10 years ago. It focuses on vocabulary learning for executives, but I'm sure you'll find it useful for your vocabulary study as well. If you wish to know the mind of a man, listen to his words. This is an ancient Chinese proverb. Every time you open your mouth, you are being judged by the words and phrases that you use. To become an effective executive, you need to have a powerful executive vocabulary. Johnson O'Connor conducted a vocabulary test at 37 large corporations. His results showed that floor bosses had a score of 86. Foremen had a score of 118. Superintendents had a score of 140. Managers had a score of 168. Executives scored the highest with an average score of 236. He made the startling discovery that in every case, without exception, there was a direct link between income and vocabulary effectiveness. The person with a better vocabulary made a higher income. So what can you do about it? Maybe you've tried, without success, to improve your vocabulary and given up. Maybe you even tried to memorize a dictionary. Most people who try this don't get past the A section. Well, there are a few principles you can follow that will make your learning easier and more effective. First and foremost, don't try to learn everything. Focus is important. According to Global Language Monitor, as of January 2012, there are over 1 million words in the English language. Trying to learn all the words you can is neither useful nor productive. So don't waste time on words you may never use. Words like erudite, diurnal, clement, protean. These are words that people don't use every day. Using words that other people can't understand is a great way to confuse your colleagues and become an outcast in your office. They'll just think you speak strange English, not good English. So, what words should you learn? All languages, including English, fall into narrow groups of words. Research has shown that each industry has about 80 to 100 frequently used words. A doctor needs to know 80 to 100 words of medical English when he's dealing with his patients and when dealing with other doctors. An airline pilot knows 80 to 100 words of aviation English. And for anyone in business, they use 100 to 120 words in their workplace. If you narrow and limit the words by specialization, you can learn more with less stress and effort. So if you're in the insurance field, learn insurance-related words first. If you're in the trading business, focus on international trade terms. An insurance executive doesn't need to know about bills of lading, and a trader doesn't need to know about waivers and premiums. Start smart. Master the 100 to 120 words you need for daily use in your particular field. There's no need to learn all the words correctly. Just learn the correct words. Let's look at something I call your circle of usage. There are 3 rings in the circle of usage. The middle ring is your colleagues. The next ring is your contacts and customers. And finally, on the outer ring, you have conferences and conventions. So as your vocabulary expands, your circle of usage will increase as well. So you start by learning the vocabulary you need to use with your colleagues. Then you add words that you need to communicate with contacts and customers. Finally, you move up to words that you use at conventions and conferences. When you systematically learn vocabulary in this way, you'll use these words with confidence anywhere and everywhere. You need to invest in yourself. Benjamin Franklin said, "An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest." The late Mario Pei, who many considered the world's greatest linguist and polyglot, a polyglot is someone who can master many languages, spoke 30 languages. He wrote a book, How to Learn Languages and What Languages to Learn. In his research, he discovered that 95% of language learners preferred going to class, and 5% liked to do self-study. But here's the interesting part. The 5% who did self-study mastered the language 3 to 4 times faster than those who studied in class. Self-study involves a higher level of commitment. It is one thing to be interested in improving your vocabulary, and it's another thing to commit to doing it. When you are committed to learning vocabulary, it's very important to have daily activity and a daily schedule. Daily self-activity is much more effective than taking vocabulary classes. Think about this. If you take a 2-hour class, it takes you an hour to get there and another hour to get home. So you're using 4 hours a week. If you took that same time and did self-study for half an hour a day, that would be more effective. So don't say you don't have time for self-study. Don't take a class. And if you don't take a class, you'll have time for self-study. And when you take classes, you sign up and take a class. Then when the class is over, you have to wait to take another one. Or sometimes you can't find a class you want to join. So then there's a break in your study. Self-study, on the other hand, if you do it regularly and consistently, will get you much better results. In the next episode, I'll share a few tools you can use when you are committed to improving your vocabulary. Okay, so that wraps up part 1 of Executive Vocabulary. Come back next week for part 2. Build your vocabulary day by day. Until next time, Herbert Lee saying bye for now.